What's up, guys and gals? And it might not be the latest chapter, but it is another catch-up chapter for Record of Ragnarok, also known as Shuumatsu no Valkyrie, Chapter 94, The Peak of the Sword. This is another great chapter. I thought that this would be the end of the fight, but I love the parallel in this chapter. As I read this chapter, I absolutely adore the parallel here. Both swordsmen reaching the peak. Technically, Okita did it at the end of 93. But here in Chapter 94, we get the explanation on how he has officially, Okita Soji has reached the peak of his swordsmanship, the peak of his style. That style that he uses, he has now found the Oji. He has found the ultimate technique, the hidden secret to making it flow like a bird, like, as I said, Black Kite's heavenly return and stuff like that. And Kondo goes on to explain how this worked. The Black Kite soars and returns to the heavens, hence the name, flowing through true nature. The words of his father, or his adoptive father, was the head of the Tenrin Rishin style, and he exemplified the very essence that were used for all practitioners of this style. And in the end, he reached the peak that no one had managed to do in their lifetime of swordsmanship, and under this style, no one had managed to figure it out. Okita had pretty much figured this out when he was a teenager, but unfortunately could no longer wield the sword. So we get that explanation here in this chapter. He's reached the peak of his swordsmanship, this is it, and then the onslaught continues. Susanoo is being pushed back like crazy. He's enjoying the fight. This is a true fight. This is amazing and stuff. Like, I've never been able to push my swordsmanship like this, and you have reached this absolute peak. And then Okita praises Susanoo, like, you're the one who brought me to be able to reach this peak, so I thank you for that. So it's the respect of two swordsmen going at it, balls to the wall. It's actually fantastic. And then the choreography, we get the little boy who was there at Okita's end, and talking about the three sword thrust, the three demons thing, surpassing godlike speed and stuff. Very Rurouni Kenshin about this shit, you know, Ronin Kenshin doing all this stuff, you know, the godlike speed of the Hiten Mitsurugi, but this time we're doing it, you know, of course, Okita style. So he gets the three thrusts, reminding me a little bit more like combining Hiten Mitsurugi with Saito's ability, but whatever, it is like the Gototsu, but same idea. It surpassed God speed. It surpassed humanity. It broke down the barriers, and boom, what does he do? By combining himself with his, you know, inner demon sort of person and himself and stuff, they use the ultimate, the Demon's Claw third stage thrust, and it not only shatters, pushes Susanoo yards away. As it continues, it actually points at the sword and shatters. This ultimate sword crafted for Susanoo, this ultimate blade, is now shattered. You know, and it's just like, holy shit, because this is the blade, right? And it has been now officially destroyed. It is gone. The sword god has now lost his blade. It has been shattered into pieces with only the hilt remaining and a little, you know, stub, like less than a dagger's worth. Meanwhile, he's also been stabbed and taken massive damage. So it's like, okay, this is probably the end of the fight. The sword has been destroyed. He's taken a major blow. He's bleeding everywhere. It's like, okay, this is going to be the final, you know, end of the fight, was my thinking when I read this. But then, you know, because everybody's cheering, but then, because the gods look on, everybody's looking on, like, this is insane. But Okita is the first one to notice something's wrong. Susanoo has finally met his match in swordsmanship, not necessarily in power or godlike or strength or anything. No, but in swordsmanship, he has finally recognized his own style, because he's been studying these styles for years and stuff like that, right? What I like about this parallel is that Okita, who did not have the time to maintain the sword, he didn't have enough time to reach this peak in his human life, never gave up on the sword. And Susanoo, watching him, and we see this, it's a beautiful parallel at the beginning of the chapter, showing Okita's evolution to the pinnacle, and now Susanoo watching Okita failing to reach that pinnacle in his lifetime, but watching him through that mirror and noticing when he could no longer wield a sword, and how desperate he was watching this man who was so determined to wield a sword one more time and never did. It's really tragedy. From Susanoo's perspective, Okita deserved more, and you see it in the grimace and the paneling on his face, and he's looking there, and he's just saying to, like, come on, Okita, you can do this. And he never completed the technique. He never got to showcase it, test it, wield the sword with the Shinsengumi one more time. So it's a tragedy, really, of one of the pinnacle, one of the greatest swordsmen of all time. And Susanoo was watching this. He watched Okita's backstory like we saw it, and he's there. No matter, and I just love the line, the parallel here, even when you can no longer wield a sword, you could not give up on the sword. That is what Okita's sword represents. So, what I love about that is that Okita was the one to inspire Susanoo here at the end. That even if you can no longer wield a sword, whether due to his physical condition in Okita's case, or in the fact that Okita just shattered Susanoo's sword, it doesn't matter. No matter what happens, you cannot give up on the way of the sword. And Susanoo has come to this revelation and is able to wield a sword without a sword. And it's like, okay, seen this in manga before, the unarmed style, right? Seen it, pretty sure Zoro in One Piece does it once or twice. But it is truly such a well-paced and well-written chapter, and the fact that we can see that the yin and yang is flowing so well between these two characters. And I really don't think we've had the very nice symbolism between characters before, but I think it might not just because he's a Japanese god with a Japanese character, which a lot of people were upset by. I don't know why, really. It's like, okay, one of the fights was going to add up to that, all right, people? But the fact is that this works so well as the yin and yang perspective, because it literally is two sides of the same coin. The same, it's flowing into one is flowing into the other. It's equal parts. It's just, there's a little bit of yin in the yang and stuff. It just, every part of this chapter is flowing perfectly like that circle, like that, the evolution, the never-ending idea, right? And he just takes his stance after, like, looking up at the heavens, and boom, he swings down an invisible sword and manages to strike Okita. And it's like, okay. And he's like, I have finally reached it. My own sword's peak. You just reached yours. The pinnacle of your sword and your swordsmanship. And he's so thankful, so grateful that he got to witness it, because he watched Okita unable to do it in his lifetime, and now he's been able to witness a swordsman he idolized reach that pinnacle. And now Susanoo, by seeing that effort and seeing that and having his own sword shattered, it's like, I watched you struggle and continue the way of the sword when you could no longer wield a sword. So what if my sword is shattered? I will never give up on wielding it. I will never, like you, he was inspired by Okita. Just because my sword is gone, I will not give up on my sword, on the way of the sword, my swordsmanship. And boom, he needs no fucking sword. He's got the unparalleled, unrestrained, unarmed sword. And it's like, okay, I thought the fight was over, but this was badass. This was amazing. The fact that these two are so intertwined really well. I love a lot of the different characters' relationships. Lu Bu and Thor, a lot of people shit on that fight. It's far better than a lot of people say, and I have it ranked a lot higher than most fans. But Lu Bu and Thor respected each other. Thor hasn't had a fight like that in such a long time, so he really respected, so that was a good one. That was a little bit of respect. Zeus gained some humility from Adam, and Adam was always great. Besides, God, like some of them, it was a nice relationship, but it wasn't, Jack and Heracles was the first time we had like okay. Alright, this is intertwined. This, I think, might just be the best relationship between the two fighters. Just the amount of respect and how they affected each other, because both of them got something out of this. They both reached their goal in this fight, and it's because of each other. No external factors. Okita didn't just do this because, like, he didn't have the time. It was because of the tuberculosis and stuff. It just, to me, it seems really, on the surface level, it seems like, okay, we're having a Japanese sword fight. in Record of Ragnarok, but it does run a lot deeper than that. And I just love how intertwined these two characters are by making Susanoo just such a fan of the struggles of the swordsmen of humans, and having this obsession and this passion for the way of the sword, and watching humanity struggling in all the different styles, and focusing on Okita being one of his heroes in his mind, helping him reach that point, and in turn helping himself find his own true sword, the unarmed sword. And it's like, this is done really well, really well. I still say, like, Jack and Herc will never be topped, but this is really close. I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty damn close in my opinion. This is really great. So yeah, chapter 94 might be my favorite chapter of the entire fight. It might be my favorite one. Because it just works so well. The writing is great. The parallels are great. Both characters have reached their pinnacle, their peaks, by intertwining with each other. And it's just so, yeah, I'm here for it. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm imagining now, where I thought that this was going to be the end of the fight, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that chapter 95 will be the official end of the fight. 96 will be the cleanup from the end of that fight. And then, you know, from there on, who knows? Are we going to have a little, like, jumping in between shit? Are we going to see you know, like, Brunhilde choosing the next fighter, that kind of stuff? Are we going to do a little bit of Odin shit? Who knows? But, or are we just going to jump it straight into the next round with only, like, a half a chapter before the next round starts? Who knows? I know, from my Discord that the new round has definitely started, and I mean, still got, like, 6 chapters to go here, so I'm not surprised by that, but, how many chapters until the next round starts? Assuming that 95 is the end of the fight. Maybe we drag this out a little longer. I don't think it needs to be. I think this is their both last gasp sort of idea. 95 should be the end of the fight or end of the round. 96 maybe bleeds into 96 a bit, but that's just my prediction. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. Who do I think is going to win now? Well, I can't see them killing off Okita, and Susanoo was only originally brought into this original fight right here. We never knew of him before. Like, we knew he was on the list, but he's not an established character like Zeus and Hermes and Odin and all these guys who have been around Buddha to a degree. So I'm going to give it to Okita, because Okita's been around for a lot of the series, and he's a favorite. We know he's a favorite of the mangaka. So I'm going to go on a limb and say Okita still wins this fight, but maybe we get a little bit of a coin flip here with this one. You know, it's technically still anybody's game, because I'm still under the impression that maybe the last fight or two gets interrupted. You know what I mean? It could go that direction. So potentially the whole theory of it's got to go 1 and 1, 1 and 1 sort of idea, or at least 2 and then the next 2 or something. We could break the mold if we don't finish all the fights. You know, it is what it is. So, but what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. I love the chapter. 10 out of 10. Wouldn't change a thing about it. As I said, I thought it was great from every standpoint. You know, artistic, it was good. The choreography was good. The art, the writing, the pacing, everything was good. The page number, everything was great. So, for me, there's very little flaws. I'll give it a 9 out of 10 because I'm sure someone will point out something, but you know, it's a 9 to a 10 out of 10. I can't see a flaw with this chapter. So, what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. We'll be back here for chapter 95, playing our catch-up here in the month of April, so we can get all caught up on Shuumatsu no Valkyrie. So, looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Have a good one. See ya.